Hey folks, it's Jim, it's Julie, it's episode 257 of Geeking Out. Yes, I remembered for once.
Woohoo!
Yay, my brain is not as bad as I thought.
You deserve a gold
2
star.
2 plus 2 is 5. Woo!
Three,
Alright.
sir. 3.
What?
3, sir. 3.
You're sure?
Monty Python.
No? Oh, okay. Yes.
Yes.
Dead parrot.
Yes.
Alright, so welcome to the show. We've got 6 comic book reviews for you, and 2 of them will be a little different this week with classic reviews. But let's start with the newest event.
The new Marvel event, Infinity number 1 of 6.
Gee, I wonder who this stars.
Couldn't guess. I have no idea.
Some purple guy.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, the Avengers are finding small pockets of invading Kree, but not warrior Kree, regular Kree. Easy to dispatch, and they're concerned about it, but it's not the end of the world.
Yep.
Not until Smasher, an Avenger and Shi'ar superguard, tells them that she's been recalled to duty on Shi'ar, meaning only one thing. The Shi'ar are preparing for battle.
Ooh.
In a big way.
Dun dun dun.
The creators are attacking, and Earth is right in the middle of where they're heading next.
Isn't that always the way?
Yes,
Why
they're
don't
always
they ever-
pointing at Earth.
Why don't they ever just attack Mars and get it over with? Oh, wait.
No answer.
Never mind.
So, the Avengers head out into space so that they can protect Earth from the creators, and they leave Iron Man and Abigail Brand to protect Earth should the Avengers fail.
Well, that's not going to help much, is it?
So, I enjoyed this book, though it jumps all over the place.
I will agree. The art and the story do jump all over the place, so it's a bit much to get used to.
I liked the slight differences in art. It's the same,
Same penciler,
Same
it's just
pencils,
several different inkers.
yes. But it felt
So-
like there were different inkers depending on which planet you were on,
Yeah.
and since this
So
is
basically, as it travels, it's
yeah,
spontaneously changes to almost a different style.
and then it
which
comes
is
back to it
interesting.
if you're on that planet.
Yeah.
I liked it. I enjoyed the art. I enjoyed the guest appearance of Luke Skywalker.
What?
Yes.
What?
Not named at all. But
What?
there is a Luke Skywalker cameo.
What?
I'll show you afterwards.
Okay.
But-
I was flipping through it. I must have missed that.
But I'm sure
But-
that you will look at this character and say, wow, if that's not Luke Skywalker, then my name's not Jim. So, keep your eyes out for
How'd
Luke.
you know that my real name is Bob the Conqueror?
Because I know everything.
Oh, okay. All right.
Keep an eye out for this book. I enjoyed it a lot,
Well-
and I think that you guys
Well,
will
I
also.
guess we know why Luke Skywalker is in this book. It's due to the fact that Marvel's going to have the license pretty darn soon. All right. So let's talk about another license that Marvel just recently lost.
Did they really?
Yeah.
I didn't know.
So Dark Horse is going to lose Star Wars to Marvel, and Marvel lost Halo to Dark Horse. So I guess fair's fair.
Tradesies.
Yes. Alright, so this is Halo Initiation number 1. Now, before she was a super soldier defending humanity as part of the Spartan 4 program, Sarah Palmer, was an ODST, Orbital Drop Shock Trooper, who carried out some of the most dangerous missions behind enemy lines. And this is basically the origin of the Spartan 4 program in the Halo game series.
Oh, that's neat.
So, if you're a fan of the Halo game series, then you'll know what's going on. But if you're someone like me, who never really enjoyed any of the Halo games, in fact, they bored me to tears, this is not... Well, tears of boredom. But, honestly, this is going to confuse the heck out of you. Because it follows storylines from those games and leads into the next one. So, unless you know who these characters are, and what events are led up to in this book, you are going to be confused.
Or you're going to want to spend some time with my friend Wiki.
That too. Thankfully, Wiki is for everyone.
Yes.
But anyway, so what did I think of this book? It's okay. It's got a very good, interesting female protagonist, which is good. I like strong female characters, which is always a nice thing. But the whole storyline as a whole type thing, it's all over the place. Because, like I said, you have to know the Halo story up until now to actually get into this story. So,
Would you say, Jim, that the strong female character, the strong female protagonist, is a selling point on this book?
Yes.
That she's an important factor?
Yes.
Alright.
Because she is the main factor of the book.
We're coming back to this.
Oh yes, we will later. So, if you like Halo, then check this one out because it's got a very interesting premise. But like I said, unless you're well adept in the Halo universe, this might confuse you a little bit.
Alright guys, next up for me is Detective Comics Annual number 2. And in this, my review on this one is short and sweet.
It sucks.
It's awesome, because it's Batman.
Oh, okay. Duh.
There's a mimic on the loose in Gotham, and it's up to Batman to stop her. Yes, you heard me right. Her. I really enjoyed this one. Not just because it's Batman, and not just because our main villain was female. I just enjoyed the general layout. I liked the villain. It was a good annual. And it stood on its own while still being a cohesive part of the ongoing storyline right now.
Which is good.
Yes. I wasn't lost without having read the previous books. They gave us more
Which is also really good.
Yeah, they gave us more than enough information when they referenced things that happened in other places.
Yeah, Halo Initiation did not have that.
That's very unfortunate.
Yeah.
But the Batman one, I really enjoyed it. So guys, even if you haven't been following Detective Comics, you should pick this one up because it's a cool story.
Alright, next up we have kind of a reprint / new book. It's Steampunk Corsairs by Rod Espinosa. And in this one, the crew of the Alexandria have been authorized to seek and destroy any of all Spanish ships to take their gold for the crown. But they're also supposed to infiltrate a masquerade to retrieve scrolls which hold the maps of Atlantis. Of course, that's all easier said than done.
Of course.
Alright, so this is basically reprinting a couple stories that Rod Espinosa did for the steampunk stuff that AP has done in the last few months or last year or so.
Right.
So you're not missing out on anything if you don't pick this one up, if you already have those books.
You're missing out on colors.
Well, colors, yes, but as I said in the original review, it would have looked a lot better in color. You get it color here, which is nice. As always, I enjoy Rod's artwork. I know you're not too fond of it, but
I'm not. It always feels very rushed to me. It feels like this is the original sketch that's been gone over. It also feels kind of like he has a very shaky hand when he's lining stuff, and it doesn't really appeal to me. I expect a little more from my professional artists.
Alright. Well, I'll have to show you Courageous Princess and change your mind. But overall, I still had fun with it. You get some really fun female characters who are kick-ass, and that's always a good thing too. Yes, more female characters who kick butt.
More strong female characters who are integral to a book?
Yep. Seems like we have a theme this week going, don't we? Which we will get back to in just a bit.
Don't worry, we're going to tie these together.
Oh yes. Alright, so if you have picked up the stories that are collected in this book, then you don't really have to pick it up again. But if you want to see it in color, then go ahead, pick it up. That, or just pick it up to support Rod. It's always a good thing to do. I still had fun with it, and it's nice to see the work finally in color.
Nice. So, last but not least for me today
We go
is
classic.
Detective Comics Volume 1, number 589.
You know, back when they actually counted on numbering a
Yes.
book.
The importance of this
And
book
not rebooting it time and time again.
is it released this month 25 years ago.
Yep.
So for me to pick this book up was so much fun. I opened it and started giggling pretty much immediately, based mostly on the fact that
crappy paper stock.
everything felt so classic, and I'm used to current comics.
Yeah.
There were a lot of
Even in the 80s, the stylistic
was
differences
so
were
different.
Yeah.
So different. And I loved it. I'm really enjoying these time warp books because
what I really like about kind of the 70s and 80s style of Batman was that he was more square.
I don't care so much about the differences in costuming or how they draw him. It's the entire feel of the book. They have some mature themes in here that I still wouldn't have a problem with recommending this for all ages because they don't focus in on it.
Yeah.
It's background things that you have to know what you're looking at to understand. And I appreciate that. I also enjoyed a lot of the physical mechanics of how this book was drawn. Anyways, before I get too far off the mark. So there are 2 stories in this book. And in the first story, well, in the main story, let's put it that way. Somebody has been killing the homeless men of Cardboard City in Gotham, and all signs point to Cadaver as the mastermind of these plots. But what does an acid man have to do with this? And how is Batman going to stop Cadaver?
Well, number one, he usually starts with a punch to the face, and then usually a kick or a batarang.
Maybe a pow, bam.
Yeah. Sometimes a biff.
Yes, every once in a while.
Yep.
So, this book also has a bonus book. And in the bonus story, Poison Ivy has become ill. She's being poisoned by her own toxins and is contagious to all those around her, including her precious plants.
Whoops!
Can Batman convince her to take treatment in time? Or has Poison Ivy's season ended? So what I
Okay, that was bad. Whack.
Part of what I loved about this book is that in the middle of the first story, you just get a tune in following for, or stay tuned while we give you this bonus book. It was fantastic. They interjected the bonus story right in the middle. Loved it. I would love to see current books do something like that every
I've seen
once
it
in
a few
while.
times. I've seen it a few times. It's
just-
very rare, but it does happen.
I enjoyed that they were like, and now for something completely different. But no, I really think that if you are fairly new to comics like I am, you should spend some time looking at back issues and some of the old stories, because a lot of these stories are really great, and a lot of these comics have a really great feel to them that you don't get in current comics.
Yep.
So, I highly recommend for anybody who's fairly new to comics, and I'm saying anybody who reads primarily things printed in the last 15 years, go back, read some old stuff, because it's fantastic.
Yep, and we'll probably focus in on a couple more older titles. Heck, we might even go back as far as we can possibly go.
I've really been enjoying going back, so watch for more time warps.
Yep. Alright, so let's get to the final book of the week, and we're going to go digging into the bargain bin.
The Mysteries of the Bargain Bin.
Yep, with Livewires, number 1. And in this one, a young girl awakens in the back of a van. Usually not a good thing.
That's never a good sign. Oh, jeez.
But she awakes only to find she is really an android in Project Livewire. A S.H.I.E.L.D. covert Black Ops team that destroys other Black Ops teams and technology. Now, she finds herself in the middle of a firefight between the Livewires and Pyro Nanos, giant burning nanomachine robots.
That doesn't sound like an easy fight to win.
Nope. And what happens in this book again is there's a certain member of the team named Gothic Lolita. Okay? And you would think that maybe the male character would be the muscle of the team, right?
You would think so.
No! She is the muscle of the team!
Wait! You mean another book that's based around a strong female protagonist who is going to be influential?
Yep.
Who would have imagined it?
I know! Amazing! Anyway, so this is another book that basically led up to Adam Warren doing Empowered, which is another fun female-led book. But that a little darker, mind you.
Right.
But I still have...
A little edgier than what you're going to see here.
Exactly. Though there are people eating people in this. Well, robots eating robots. So it's weird.
It's still awkward.
Yeah, so... What we see here is the beginnings of a teen book.
Right.
That never really got to go anywhere, sadly. I quite enjoyed the story, and the characters were actually very well fleshed out. As the story progresses, you get to meet each member of the team, and you get a little bit of their history as they talk about themselves, which is great. A great introduction to a great set of characters is always a good way to start off a book.
I agree.
And when you actually can like the characters, even better.
Yes.
So I had a lot of fun with this book, and I kind of wish that it had gone more than 6 issues. But sadly, things don't always work out for the best.
Who
with
knows?
New series.
Maybe the Avengers will die in their Star Wars, and we'll see some Livewire from Marvel.
Yeah. Don't know about that one. But,
Could happen.
Marvel and Disney are adapting one of the other almost manga-style books that they did from quite a few years ago called Big Hero 6 into an animated film.
I heard about that. You were telling me about that a little bit yesterday.
And if I can find a couple copies of Big Hero 6, I'll gladly review it in one of our It Came From the Bargain Bin books. Because it was a pretty fun book that I actually did enjoy when it came out. Of course, now it's a little harder to find.
A little more difficult.
I still enjoyed it and would like to see what they do with the actual property, turning it into a film. This one probably would not work out too well as an animated cartoon. So, I'll give it that, but it is a fun superhero / team story that you really do have a good set of characters and
you get to see a strong female protagonist.
Exactly. Several strong female protagonists.
Even better.
So, check this one out if you got a couple bucks to spend, because it's a lot of fun. Alright, so, we've come to the end of our comic reviews. Let's get into some ranting, shall we?
Oh, I would love to.
Alright, so I'll let you start.
So, Jim brought to my attention on the weekend an interview and a panel discussion that featured primarily Todd McFarlane and Mark Millar. Todd McFarlane of Spawn, of course, and Mark Millar of the Kick-Ass franchise that you've seen recently.
Among many other things that he's done.
They've both done lots. They've both had quite extensive careers, but these are the things that we think you guys will remember them for.
Yep.
And what's important is that both of these comic creators in the last week have gone on the record essentially stating that women have no place in comics, either reading or creating, and they have no place in the comic books because, what was it? They argued that...
This is why we have notes.
Creators don't really have control over how comics portray women because, history.
Which is total and complete BS.
I have to agree with Jim this time. I am personally very offended by this. However, I'm going to try and set my feelings aside a little bit and give you guys some facts.
We're gonna talk about it in a factual manner, and we'll rant a bit, but we're gonna try and keep it PG.
Oh,
as best we can.
Okay, so I did a little bit of research because this got my back up. And I looked...
As it did mine.
I looked into some of the things that Mark Millar has done and some of the things that he said. There were references made in the various articles that we read. I think we've been through about 5 or 6 different articles at least.
Yeah. And a lot of it, he jumps back and forth on what he says.
Basically, what I was able to deduce about Mark Millar is that he's more or less a hypocrite.
Yeah.
He says that he wants to portray women and minorities equally within their comics, and then goes back to, or he's spoken out against the underrepresentation of female characters in comics, and then proceeds in 3 of his primary books that he is known for to have extremely brutal rape scenes,
violence,
and
murder,
ridiculous,
etc.
Yes. And then later goes on to say that the ultimate act that would be the taboo to show how bad some villain is was to have somebody being raped, you know. I don't really think it matters. It's the same as, like, a decapitation. It's just a horrible act to show that somebody's a bad guy.
Which, again, we call BS on.
Yes, because my opinion is that a decapitation is fairly... Well, you cut off their head, the person's dead. You've left their loved ones to deal with it. Mm-hmm. But a rape, you've violated an individual and made it so that they no longer feel safe in their own body.
Yep.
And there are horrible, long-lasting effects that happen to a person after something as atrocious as that occurs. And I feel like they're using something that they don't understand and can't possibly understand as a tool to do nothing more than upset their male protagonist and carry forth their protagonist's story with no consideration to the female characters that they are portraying.
Not to mention that an event like that, if it were to happen to a character in a book or in real life, some people would use that as somewhere to grow from, to get better, to be a bigger person, etc., etc. I could go on about growing from a terrible event.
Yes. And
where do we see that growth?
Nowhere.
Nowhere.
We see that growth in the opposite direction. We see it reflected in society in higher instances of these atrocities occurring. And we see our comic creators taking no responsibility.
Yeah.
And we never see any growth or development in the comics themselves, and it's harmful only to our society. And I feel like it has no place, and their irresponsibility and their disregard for what they are putting into our society and our media is absolutely irresponsible.
Agreed. And the fact that they are people that people look up to is even more disgusting. To me.
I don't care if you want to or not. If you are a comic creator, you are a role model.
Exactly.
You are helping to shape our society. Comics do not, contrary to what Jerry Conway from The Punisher has to say, where is it? I just had it. Contrary to what he has to say, comics do not follow society, they lead it. Or at the very least, they help to shape it.
Yeah.
We take our cues, whether people are consciously aware of it or not, we take our cues from the media that we ingest. And I just would like to see more responsibility from these creators.
Mm-hmm. Instead of killing or maiming or hurting these women, why not make them stronger characters?
Why not
better people?
Why not, instead of having something atrocious happening so that you can further your male protagonist, why not give us something from the person who's been violated to show us how one could possibly cope with this? Mm-hmm. Why not, instead of having a hero jump to the rescue, why not see the hero jump to help the person who's been hurt.
Yeah.
There's disregard for
when a character is hurt or anything in the storyline, and you have your main character not even give a rat's ass about what happened, basically saying, "Oh, you deserved it." It's like, what?
Well, I don't see how these people can think that that what they are creating has no harm on society, and I don't see how they can possibly justify it to themselves. I know for a fact Mark Millar has 2 young daughters.
Yeah.
How is he not looking at this and saying to himself, if one of my
Actually,
daughters...
you're thinking McFarlane there.
No, Millar.
Millar? You're sure?
I have it here. I'm sorry, guys. In any case, it was Millar who talked about daughters and not writing superhero books for his daughters.
Yeah, that's McFarlane.
It was McFarlane?
Yeah.
Oh, my apologies then. In any case, I know for a fact that they have daughters. Where's the idea of what this could possibly happen to my daughter?
Mm-hmm.
Where is there any sort of thought towards shaping and creating a better world for their children?
Or a better female character for people to look up to.
Exactly. Somebody that young girls can look at and say, this is how I conduct myself.
Yeah.
I know very, very, very base outline of Spawn's lead female character. Spawn, of course, being McFarlane, the current female character. In short, she cheats on her husband with Spawn. Spawn says that he's not comfortable with it. She slits her wrists and then is taken over by the main villain. So you're telling us then that when your daughters grow up, if they cheat on their husbands because they're not being paid attention to enough, that A, that's okay, and B, it's okay to be so upset that you kill yourself when your new lover isn't comfortable with it?
Yeah, that's just showing irresponsibility on an epic scale.
How is this a good message to be sending?
It's not. That's the thing. And they don't show the smarts to know that they shouldn't be saying that kind of thing.
Exactly.
Showing that kind of thing.
I really think that we need to see more responsibility from our comic creators in the way that they approach their comics and in the way that they approach their role in society.
Yeah. And as for their statement on there not being good female comics creators, let me just go off the tip of my tongue here.
Let's get a list.
With just a few of the awesome female comics creators of the last 50 plus years. Let's go with Gail Simone for one. Mm-hmm. Wendy Peeney. Barbara Canepa. Holly Golightly. Clamp. Studio Clamp.
Yep.
Amanda Connor. Katie Cook. Adriana Blake. Isabel Molencon. Katie Bear. Sarah Elkins. Hope Larson. Ramiko Takahashi. The #1 selling female artist in the world. Colleen Doran of A Distant Soil. Ava Hopkins.
Yep.
Joe Chen. Becky Cloonan. Tara Talon, and the late, great Kate Worley. That's just off the tip of my tongue, people.
Would you like to know what Millar had to say when Gail Simone spoke out about these two-dimensional refrigerator women symbols that we've been seeing? Millar said, granted, the female stuff has more of a sexual violence, but rape is a rare thing in comics and is seldom done in an exploitative way. Except, of course, in
when
Wanted.
Millar does it.
Except, of course, in Wanted, in The Authority, in Kick-Ass 2, in any number of books that Millar is the creator on. Come on! Realize what you're saying and realize what you're doing.
It's idiotic, and
It's not okay.
It's not okay. And you need to take responsibility and grow the F up.
Just realize what you're doing.
Yeah.
All right. That's my piece.
All right. So that's it for this week's episode.
Thank you for joining us.
We will see you
for
next
listening
week.
to our rant.
Feel free to
give us your
comment.
comments. We'd love to hear them.
Yep.
And we'll